Hello and welcome to this hip opening yin yoga class for releasing stuck emotions from your hips. I invite you to grab hold of any yoga props that you might have, so a yoga bolster, cushions, or whatever is going to help you feel really comfortable and cozy in this class. We're going to spend a few minutes in each pose really stretching out your hips. So make sure that you have everything around your mat so you can just grab and take it. I invite you to find a nice and comfortable seated position in the middle of your mat, bringing the soles of your feet together for a nice cobbler pose. So not really bringing the heels towards the sit bones, but leaving some space here, some opening. And on the next out breath, start walking with your hands to the front, finding yourself dropping your upper body on top of your feet and your legs completely, releasing any tension whatsoever in your upper body, letting go, feeling that stretch in your low back, but keeping the sit bones glued to the floor as much as possible. If this is starting to feel quite intense for you, feel free to grab some props underneath your knees. Just gonna spend a few moments here, opening up the inside of the hips, the groin muscles. And so often with stuck emotions, there's a lot of tension and pain and disassociation. And so what we want to do with this class is bring some aliveness into the hips, but through more static holds, no pressing, no pushing. Just letting that energy circulate again through your pelvis, opening up the pathways. And as you're sinking into the pose, keep noticing your breath. And keep noticing any tensions that might come up in your body. Just being present with them in this moment. No need to fix anything, no need to rush into softness. A few more deep breaths here, completely letting go and sinking into your body, into the floor. It's here for support. The next in-breath, start waking up, gently walking your hands back to center. Resetting that nice little central pose here with a straight but soft spine, perhaps feeling your hips in this moment. I invite you to place your hands on your hip bones here and just connect for one moment to feel if there was any energy shift already just with the first pose, feeling any tension, any discomfort, and inviting it to this practice. Bring the next in-breath, bring the knees in together. And let's meet in a wide-legged child's pose. So once again, feel free to grab of any props that you might need. So perhaps you want to place some blankets or cushions underneath your knees. Perhaps you want to take a yoga bolster just below your torso here so you can really lean down whatever is going to be supportive for this pose for you. So really making sure that your knees are spread wide here so you can sink deep into the pose. Coming on one side of your face here, whatever feels more comfortable, and just resting onto the mat. Feeling the hips opening, perhaps feeling a lot of energy all of a sudden sinking down towards the floor, towards the earth. Don't fight that, just let that go. Whatever wants to exit your body is free to leave you. All of these hip opening poses are working on a downward flow of energy. So there's a lot of emotions that might be coming up, but a lot of emotions that will also want to just make their way out of your body. So just accept that, allow it. It is difficult when we're living so long with stuck emotions. It feels comfortable almost to keep them in the body. But I invite you in this class to just imagine and feel for a moment, how would it be like to let everything go? Breathing softly, gently into your child's pose, letting your hips fall to the ground and taking any unwanted energy with them. And perhaps the longer you stay in this pose, you're starting to notice some discomfort, some strain coming up in your body. And I invite you to connect with that and to be present with whatever is arising. Noticing sensations in your body is such an important step in healing and processing. Well done. Very gently bring your head back to center, just turning to face the mat. And as you do, start slowly walking with your hands back up to kneeling position. Feeling your sit bones starting to get glued to the mat, and perhaps you just want to hang out here for just a moment to find that beautiful stretch in your lower back, to find that grounding through your hips, and once again feeling any of that energy, any of those emotions being expelled out of your pelvis. Feel this downward flow of energy in all the poses we're doing together today. Keep walking your hands back until you come into a straight but soft spine. Recenter here once again. And notice your hips. Just noticing, feeling sensations here. Now I invite you to meet me again seated in the middle of the mat for our firelock pose. Place your right foot just parallel to the long side of your mat here. And if this is comfortable for you, now take your left ankle and place it just on top of your right knee. And you might notice here that your left knee is pulled up here, that it really doesn't want to budge, doesn't want to go lower. So this is the time when you're gonna grab hold of any yoga blocks or bolsters or cushions, anything that will make you feel more comfortable in this hip opening. So it really doesn't matter where you're here in this pose right now. So perhaps you just want to do it with one leg at a time. Perhaps there's a lot of tension in your hips. So just making sure that this right leg is parallel to the longer side of your mat and just leaning a little bit forward into that pose here, feeling that hip opening. So whatever is feeling good in your body. If it's available to you, stacking the knees and ankles here. Noticing once again how this feels in your body. And if you want to take it a step further, folding forward over the stacked legs. Dropping your upper body on top of your fire log here. Feeling that left glute firing. Perhaps it's your groin, perhaps it's your glutes. Whatever you feel working in this pose is okay. It's releasing and is beneficial for your whole body. And feel free to experiment with what feels good here. If that forward fold is a bit too much for you, feel free to stay in an upward seated position, closing your eyes gently here. Breathing deep into your lower lungs. Pressing into both knees. Pressing that energy down, helping that downward flow of energy in this pose as well. Everything is coming from top to bottom and out. Just a few more moments here. Well done. Gently open your eyes. Let's switch sides. This time the left leg comes on the bottom. So once again, depending on how stiff your hips are feeling, maybe it's enough for you to just place the left leg parallel to the longer side of your mat here and leaving the right leg just hang out wherever it wants to. And just focusing on that left knee pressing down towards the mat, feeling that stretch in your glute, in your groin, and being seated in a nice comfortable position here. Perhaps you want to take it a step further, placing the right ankle on top of your left knee here. Once again, grab hold of any blocks, cushions, bolsters underneath this knee if this is feeling a little bit too tender for you still. Again, there's no need to go into the full expression of this pose. This is such a strong hip opener, so whatever feels good for you here. If your pose looks like this, grab hold of props. And once again, find whatever's comfortable for you. Perhaps you want to walk your hands to the front and sink into a nice forward fold here. Or perhaps you want to stay upright here, just focusing on that upright hip opening. Gently closing your eyes. And every time you breathe out, notice how the breath and the energy is being pulled downwards, again, through your pelvis, through your hips. And notice perhaps the longer you stay in this pose, the more heavy your legs and your hips are becoming. Just let them. Let them become heavy. Let them discharge energy. Let them discharge emotions. Keep breathing here and noticing how that breath in is bringing fresh new energy into your body and how that breath out is expelling energy out of your body. Last breath here. And gently open your eyes, unwind the legs, and we meet in our shoelace pose. So this time bringing the left heel into your right sit bone here so that your left knee is kind of facing to the front. And perhaps this is enough for you. Perhaps you feel enough of a hip stretch to say that this is where your pose is going to be. And feel free to just stay here centered. And again, focusing on that downward flow of energy, activating those stuck emotions. Or feel free to now take your right foot, your right leg, and stack the right knee on top of the left one. You might need to help yourself a little bit with your hands. Perhaps you need to place a yoga block, a cushion, or whatever is comfortable for you here underneath the knees. And whenever you find your position, make sure that both sit bones are squarely on the mat here. You're sitting nice and tall, feeling that activation in your hips, perhaps feeling the right glute stretching. Option here is to stay upright or to walk your hands to the sides and forward fold your top body on to your knees. Letting your head come down and just hang down, really dropping any heaviness, any tension. Noticing how this is activating your glutes, your hips. And only stay here if this is comfortable for you. If this is too much of a stretch, feel free to come back up into upright position using your fingertips for support if you need to. Breathing through your nose, in and out, keeping that breath inside of your body, clearing your body, sending it all the way down to your pelvis. Activating any stuck energy, allowing it to release. Noticing if any particular emotions are coming up in your body right now. And knowing that these poses are a way for our body to process whatever our mind was not able to process at some point. You can release the stagnancy, the stuckness. Breathing in and breathing it out, down through your body, through your hips, and out into the floor. Well done. Gently open your eyes, unwind the legs, and we switch sides. So this time the right knee comes facing forward. And once again, perhaps this is enough of a hip opening for you. There's no need to stack the other leg on top. Perhaps this is too much. Just see what feels good here. Play around with the poses. Perhaps you want to just cross your legs on top of each other like this. Perhaps you see that you can take the knee on top of the other. Perhaps you need a blanket or a cushion. Whatever feels good here, making sure that both sit bones are squarely and nicely rooted to the floor. And once again, it's your option to take it to the front for a nice little forward fold, stretching out your arms to the sides, really feeling that pull to all directions here. But at the same time, pushing your hips and your sit bones down to the mat, not losing contact there, not floating into the air. We want to stay grounded so that energy can flow out of us. Feel free to take the forward fold here for the rest of the pose, or come upright, feeling the stretch this way. Paying attention this time to the left glute, to your left thigh, and perhaps letting go of any tension stored there. What can you let go of in this moment, in this pose? Well done. Slowly start coming back with your body, opening up your eyes. Let's meet for the last pose of this class on our backs for a nice little reclining butterfly. Gently lowering yourself down. The soles of your feet come to touch. Now it's up to you how high the heels come. Are they close to the sit bones, or are they a bit more open? Whatever feels good here for you. I invite you to place your hands on your hip bones here. And perhaps even apply just a tiny bit of pressure to open them up towards the sides. And feel how that is experienced in your body. Is there perhaps immediately more space, more opening? Just using your hands to gently guide your body where you want it to go. Feel that connection between the hands and the hips. Feel that opening. And feel free to just grab any kind of cushions or blocks underneath your knees if this is starting to get too much. And just sink into the pose. Let your whole body become heavy. Imagine your ankles becoming heavy, your shins, your knees, your thighs, your glutes, and your whole pelvis becoming heavy and sinking to the ground. Your lower back, your shoulders, your neck, your head, your elbows, your hands. Everything is heavy and dropping down. There's no tension to hold on to. Only spaciousness in your body. Now perhaps imagine a little ball of light starting to circulate at your pelvis. Perhaps it's a white color, starting to gather up all of the stuckness that is still left in your hips. And imagine as you breathe, this ball is moving through your pelvis, picking up any of that residue from your hips. Gathering up everything that you want to let go of. Just let it clear your whole lower body. Let it pick up anything that's there that you no longer want. Then on the next out breath, we're gonna breathe loud and vocally out, clearing out that ball, that energy out of the pelvis. Two more times, breathing in. Last time. Feeling that pelvis all clear, emptied and free of any stuckness and stagnancy. I invite you to bring your knees together on the next breath in. Bring them down to your side. Roll through your side up to seated. I want to thank you for joining me in this class. I hope you feel re-energized and new.